I'm a senior at BU. I'm studying computer science, and I'm the co-founder and CTO of Popple. BU is like a great place, I think, to be a freshman because the whole city, there's so much to explore. So I was mainly focusing on doing that and making friends. I actually met my co-founder, Remi, the first week at Boston University. We met at Splash. But it was totally like, we were just friends at first. Something that Remi and I talked about a little bit is like, after freshman year, we were in our sophomore year and we had kind of both tried out different things. Like I was in research, she had joined a bunch of clubs. We hadn't really found like our thing here that we really like to do. And parallelly, we were talking about, even in general, how hard it is to find things to get involved in and things to do on campus. Because we had met at Splash freshman year, but then after that, you know, then you have this one instance of like Splash, and then after that, there's not really a lot of like a centralized hub for where you can go to like find things to do on campus or find communities to join. Kind of those two parallel forces is what led to Popple. The first couple steps were challenging and interesting, and Innovate was a huge part in helping us through that beginning, because really Remi and I just had this idea at first. We wanted to build an app or a platform for students to find communities on campus. And all we had was the idea, and we had made like a very basic pitch deck, and we actually pitched it to Ian kind of like around 2 weeks after we came up with the idea. We had no traction, no interviews, nothing, but we came to Innovate with this idea, and they were so welcoming. Honestly, I was a little bit nervous at first because I felt like I hadn't, you know, come up with enough traction, or I didn't have a product yet, I didn't have a prototype, but Ian was super welcoming and was really willing to kind of help us go from that early stage to the stage we are in, to the next stage, which was you know, doing interviews, proving out the problem, altering the solution, and then eventually building a prototype and beyond. I would say, like, do not wait to get involved at all. I'd say, honestly, I wish I'd gotten involved even earlier, and then I would have had even more years to, you know, work on Popple and work on other ideas. So yeah, I feel like there's a lot of pressure, especially in entrepreneurship, that entrepreneurs put on themselves to have the perfect idea, perfect path forward, and to know everything. But in reality, especially when you're a student, you really don't know much. So it's really always helpful to have kind of this hub of resources that you can always go to for advice and mentorship. Our first aha moment was after Ian, who was our mentor on the IP program, kind of pushed us to create a prototype of the app and then test it with a number of users, like potential users, and kind of get their feedback. So we had built I had built this super basic like Figma prototype, and we were interviewing people and sending it out along with a survey to get users' opinions. And to be honest, the prototype itself, the current iteration of Popple is so different from the prototype. The prototype itself was not very good, but it was incredible how much students responded to that problem. We ended up interviewing around 500 students via our surveys, and we got like 80 plus like positive, you know, rating of like, I would love to use this. If it was on the App Store, I would totally download it and tell my friends to use it. And Popple didn't even have all the features that it does right now. So I think that that first moment of figuring out that this was like a really important problem to solve and that students were really responding to that was a major like rewarding moment for us. So sophomore year we pitched for the walk stage kind of right after I had gotten this data that, you know, 500 students were very interested in the platform. We had built a pretty long waiting list of students that wanted to use the platform as well, which I think is super important and something that I wouldn't have honestly done if we hadn't been part of the innovation pathway, is build up that kind of interest before actually diving into building the product. But yeah, we had built up this interest and we went to pitch for walk. The walk pitch was pretty tough. I think that that's one of the I mean, as someone who's now pitched like 30 plus times, I honestly think the IP judging panel is at par with like MassChallenges or like some other accelerators, or sometimes maybe even harder in some cases. But that judging panel was definitely pretty tough on us and definitely learned a lot. We pitched for a run right after that because we had the prototype and some traction and a pretty good case for what we did spend the money on, which was like server costs and stuff. And then I think after we pitched for run, I think the gap between run and fly was much longer than the gap between like walk and run. I think it's something like I don't know what the numbers are, but very, very few teams actually make it to fly. I think the criteria is pretty, like we had launched the app on the App Store and made it to a couple hundred users, and that's when we actually pitched for Fly, when we had like kind of that working prototype. In between pitching for Fly and Run, we actually did the MassChallenge Accelerator program, which is a program in Boston with about a 10% acceptance rate among startups. We were the youngest people in that program at the time, so it was super new to us. We were hearing stories of these entrepreneurs who were, 10 plus years older than us and had pitched for MassChallenge multiple times. And it was our first time, and it was a really kind of great and like humbling experience to be among all of these other entrepreneurs who were doing this full time. And it really made us believe that we could also do it full time. And I think that MassChallenge experience between Run and Fly really helped us hone in on the product. We did a lot of beta testing and launched it right at the end of MassChallenge. And then, pitched for Fly. That's kind of the best part about MassChallenge, I think, is that they really are able to get this prolific group of like entrepreneurs together to talk and connect and, like share. And I mean, that's like the toughest part about entrepreneurship is I feel like a lot of people don't necessarily like get it. Or like sometimes you talk about your achievements and you have this app that has several thousand users and it's not necessarily like a very linear path, like say like getting a degree is, or publishing in a research paper, publishing in like a research journal is, or, there's a lot of linear paths at BU, and I don't think this is necessarily one of them. So having a group of people that kind of get it and like are kind of, you say that you hit like 3,000 users, and they're like, whoa, congratulations, that's awesome. Like, having that kind of feedback and being able to celebrate with people, being able to learn from people too. Like when we hit 3,000 users, the next question was, how do you hit 5,000, 10,000, And then through MassChallenge, we had a group of people to go to and ask those questions, people that were also on the same journey. And MassChallenge also is an incredible mentor network. We've met VCs through there. We've met people that have expertise in social media, in marketing, in technology. And it's a really, really incredible network. And that has definitely helped us grow Popple a lot, having that kind of insider knowledge into those areas. The Hult Prize was awesome. That was end of my junior year, so after we had pitched for Fly. And it was great because it was a lot of IP teams were pitching for the Hult Prize, so it was also just like Super Bowl of BU startups. It was a lot of BU startups pitching together, and it was cool to kind of prepare with them and see how they were tackling these like social impact issues. They review like over 10,000 startups from all over the world and pick around 1,000 of them to go pitch at the national level. And then after you pitch at the national level, you're able to go to like an Accelerator in London for a few weeks and then pitch for the $1 million prize, which is the grand prize. So Popple got selected to be a part of the national level of the Hult Prize, which was an incredible opportunity. We got to go to Lisbon through that to represent BU and the United States as a whole as one of the top social impact startups. And in Lisbon, it was kind of incredible to see all the problems that people were tackling from around the world. And yeah, it was a great experience. We didn't end up making it to the semifinals, but it was a really cool experience nonetheless. And spending a week in Lisbon was so much fun. And those are the kind of crazy experiences that I never thought that I would like necessarily have going down like a kind of classically linear path at BU and getting my degree. So Popple is a social media app that's all about building in-person connections. We're trying to tackle the problem of loneliness among college students, which is last year, the Surgeon General, Vivek Murthy, declared it the #1 public health crisis in the United States was loneliness. So what Popple does in order to tackle this is we use AI to match students based on common interests and send them to events to attend together. So the idea is that if you're a student who's looking for something to do on the weekend, you don't necessarily have anybody to do it with, or if you want to meet new people, you can get on the app and be recommended people that are similar to you that are also interested in going to events with you. Popple is open to all universities in Boston. We have around 5,000 users on the platform right now. And we're growing at a rate of 20% month over month, which is crazy. It's a lot of new users every single month. We have partnerships with around 30 event venues in Boston. Some notable ones are Fidelity for Startups, BU, obviously, Northeastern, also with a number of local nonprofits. So if you're interested in volunteering, that's a big use case that we see for our platform is volunteering, and also, typical bars, clubs, restaurants, other social venues for college students. I do all of the development of the app, so a lot of that has been really paying attention to the data that our users, when they get on the app, what buttons are they clicking? What places are they exiting and dropping off on? Like, what kinds of events are they most interested in? What kinds of groups are having the most success? So I look at all of this data and then try to ideate different features and improvements to the app. So I work with a team of 4 other incredible developers that we've recruited, other students at BU. Shout out to them. They're awesome. This would not be possible without them. But we release new updates around every 2 weeks to kind of keep users engaged and hooked, and also kind of experiment to, continue to improve our solution for this problem of how do we keep students connected in this more and more digitized age. How do we prevent college from turning into virtual reality? How do we keep everybody in in-person communities? Remi, my co-founder, is really the business and marketing head. So she handles the other side of that, which is how do you get people on the app? So she's always, out on the street, doing guerrilla marketing, handing out donuts for downloads, passing out flyers, getting people excited about the app. She also handles partnerships with event venues. So she's the one who got us those 30+ event venue partnerships that are posting on the app. So yeah, I guess it's kind of she handles getting people on the app and I try to make them stay. So we have a team of about 10 right now. So 4 on the technology side doing coding, and then 6 on the marketing side doing outreach and event partnerships. And a lot of those people were recruited through the FYF program. So the FYF program is the first year innovation fellowship at BU. It's for first years that are excited about entrepreneurship and innovation and want to learn how to incubate their own ideas and eventually build a business. So when Remi and I were first looking for people to join our team, we went to we were talking to people at the Build Lab about that, and they were like, oh, you should pitch yourself to the first year innovation fellows because these are students that are really interested in entrepreneurship and in learning the inner workings of a startup like yours. So they'd be really interested in joining. So we came and we pitched alongside with Zoe and Nana to the first year innovation fellows. And a lot of them were really excited. I mean, a lot of the people that we met, I think it was the FYF class of 2024. A lot of them are still on the team and still help us out. I wish I was part of FYF freshman year. It's a super passionate and entrepreneurial and driven group of students. And I think when you're first coming into school, it's really good to be surrounded with people like that. And yeah, we absorbed a lot of them into the Popple team and we work them very hard. But I think they like it. I've met so many great friends here and made some really amazing connections, and we're all trying to do kind of the same thing, which is build something that people want to use. And it's a tough thing to do, and it's a really rewarding thing to do. And I feel like, yeah, it's great to have this community of people that you can go to with your small wins and have them be like, oh, that's awesome. I'm so excited for you. And yeah, just give each other support and advice. And yeah, we don't get to go in person to events as much. But I really like looking through our App Store reviews or on our social media, the comments, because you have lots of people being like, oh, I used this and it was so fun. Or I met my boyfriend on Popple, or I met people that are really important to me and have had a lasting impact on my life on Popple. So that I think is the most rewarding thing, because that's exactly what we want to do with the platform.